What's up, Internet? In today's episode, we're going to take a look at a crazy game exchange pickup, as well as a thrift store find and an iffy storage locker pickup, as usual. Let's go. This is slightly embarrassing. How did this make it to green? It's been here over 10 days. And I never saw it. I mean, it's probably broken. This can't be good. Never seen one of these before, though. $4, I might mess with it. See a price on it, but seeing as I have one that's just sitting there. So it's pretty safe to say I end up in this game exchange about once a week, and I'm pretty familiar with their inventory. However, once I start seeing all these new to me, 3DS and eventually DS games, my mind starts spiraling because I'm noticing they all have the same date, meaning this is all probably from the same collection. And one thing with Game Exchange is their prices aren't always insane. Their pricing system for things isn't always above price charting like a lot of places, so you can get good deals. A lot of these I'm looking at, my mind is spinning, and I'm just like, am I going to really start building my DS collection again? I mean, I'm getting back into video gaming more regularly now after they announced the Switch 2. And I have to apologize if my voice sounds really ragged. This is being filmed a few days after the Royal Rumble, and after Jey Uso won, I pretty much lost my voice immediately. It was like 0 to 100 or 100 to 0, depending on how you look at it. A lot of these games I'm grabbing right now, I'm adding to my pile, but I end up putting back just because I have to be realistic here. A lot of these prices are good, but I just can't be spending a ton of money on DS games. Especially with the Switch 2 theoretically rapidly approaching. But we do end up spending some. Legendary Starfy, not a game for me. I remember picking that one up way back in the day, thinking it was going to be like the next coming of Kirby, and it was just not something I was into. Now in the case, it gets even crazier. Blue Dragon Awakened Shadow, Super Robot Tyson Tactics. I always fuck that name up because, wow, OG Saga. I actually used to have that game back in the day. And unfortunately, the way they have them in the case, it's impossible to see prices. I do eventually take a look at all these, but I'm not going to film right in front of the employees. So we will be taking a look at all these DS games and figuring out what we can actually spend some money on. But if you've got eagle eyes, you got some really rare and expensive games in that stack. I really kind of gloss over the rest of the items they have here because I was mainly looking for items that would have came from that same collection of RPGs mainly. But I did learn later that a lot of these PS3 games also from that same collection, but just not really from the era of games that I would collect. A lot of the Atelier games that I'm just not into past Iris. Atelier Iris Eternal Mana was the only one I really played, but they went pretty deep on those games. It's always a rough day, or a good day, depending on how you look at it, when you have to make tough financial decisions inside of a game exchange. Spent almost $200. All right, in a moment, we're going to take a look at what we got at that game exchange However, first we're going to look at the pickup I just did from my storage locker guy. It's going to be interesting just because I don't actually remember what I bought. I remember 2 items in here. And we paid $65 total, so let me know in the comments below if this was worth it. Now, one thing with my storage locker guys, they don't know much about video games, hence why they sell to me, because they don't want to deal with it. And certain questions that you would ask a seller, like, hey, does the Xbox have a hard drive? I wouldn't be able to get them to even look, really. But it looks like we do have a 250 gigabyte hard drive, so that's good. Xbox 360 Slim. The other item I remember, this was PSP 3000. It does need a battery and the cover. Hopefully it works. Doesn't have a charger. I believe it came with a game. I'm struggling to open it with one hand. There we go. What is this? Oh, 300 greatest hits. A Nintendo Switch dock and cords. Xbox 360 controller. Charging grip, or maybe just the Joy-Con grip. I don't remember how to tell those apart. Another one. One's third party, one's official. And then games. Madden 13, Forza 4, NBA 2K11. This is not looking great. Alright, here's at least a little bit of value. Madden 17. Hopefully it's the right game in there. It is. And then the last stack of games. Everything else in here is just like power cords. Lego Jurassic World. Lego Marvel Superheroes. Disc Only, Skylanders Imaginators, Minecraft, Sonic Mega Collection Plus, and I believe another game that has some value, NBA 2K18 on the 360. It's in there. Yeah, let me know in the comments below. Let's get to that DS pickup. All right, let's take a look at what I was able to pick up from Game Exchange. I spent just under... I don't have any secrecy here. Just under $200. Don't tell my wife. And don't mind that it looks like Godzilla is about to have his way with these games. So, I believe some collector of RPGs, of just high quality video games, must have done a pretty big trade-in, because they had a ton of stuff at this location that definitely all came from the same place. It all had the same date on it for the most part. And I started seeing that when we first got there and were looking at the DS games that they had on the shelf, some surprising ones. And then I turned around and they had even more in the case. So I did a whole bunch of research. I tried to get the best deal I could. Am I keeping all of these? No. I think I'm going to keep one of the games. And for fun's sake, let's have you guess in the comments below which game here I'm going to actually end up keeping. 2. There's going to be 2 I'm going to keep, I think. But first up, just because this game for $10, despite the fact that it's not a good Lunar game, seemed like too good of a deal to pass up. Lunar Dragon Song. I've had this in the past. I've heard horrible things about it in terms of how the game is. But $10 for a complete DS game in this day and age, hard to pass up. Nope. Next up is a game that I am relatively unfamiliar with. I've heard about it on hidden gems lists in the past. An Atlas title, so it's always one to keep an eye on. My World, My Way. $35. I believe this game goes for over $60. Or I sold it already for $130. Radiant Historia. This is a game I had back in the day. Actually, this is deceiving because I already took out the items from it. Unfortunately, this was... I assume this guy purchased this off Amazon, brand new. And instead of it just being a sticker on here, the Amazon seller took a piece of tape to cover like the entirety of the back and wrapping around on the side. So I'm going to have to apply a decent amount of heat to this to get that off. Really annoying. But the guy who traded it in never even opened anything. It has the soundtrack brand new sealed and the game still sealed. I had this one back in the day, probably around the time that the 3DS came out, and I tried playing it. I couldn't get into it. I was probably just too into Pokemon back then, which is honestly the same way I am now. And yeah, this game has been re-released on the 3DS, so this is not the ideal version to have from what I understand. Then we have Blue Dragon Plus. This was the game I saw out on the shelf that I was like, wow. This game, like, I was recently talking to Unknown Video Game Hunter about the Blue Dragon series and how they've been popping up at GameStops for reasonable prices. I gotta say, wasn't expecting to see this at $20, and even more so, as you probably have been spoiled on by now, wasn't expecting to see Blue Dragon Awakened Shadow for $95, brand new sealed. Now, unfortunately, I am too value-minded to open this and keep it, because if I kept it, I would want it to be something that I was going to play. And in this day and age, I'm not going to throw the value of a cellophane plastic seal or whatever it's made out of just to get something for an okay deal. Instead, I need it to be an insane deal. So, and maybe I will sell this and buy a used copy, but I don't know. Like, I believe this is the second game on the DS, so I would probably only want to get this if I've already played through Blue Dragon Plus. And honestly, I've never played any of Blue Dragon on any system, not even the Xbox 360. So, yeah, let me know in the comments below which of these games do you think I plan on keeping for my collection. And if anybody gets it right, well, I'll let you know.